Lucas Oil on the Edge is going all out with this week's episode as we take you to Texas and Wisconsin for two amazing races. We'll be hitting the ice with the Pro Bike Oval Race, but first we'll be burning rubber with the nitrous machines. These door slammers are all vying for the championship belt, and if that's not enough for you, we've got the fan favorite, the Lucas Oil Crash Lab. Let's not waste any more time. OTE's on now.
Got it tacked up, and if you get too close, you're getting cracked up. Stone cold when I roll, coming out of the hole. Get back, cause I'm out of control. I'm on the edge.
You're watching Lucas Oil on the Edge. We have a lot of action coming your way here today. It will be the Lucas Oil Pro Nitrous Battle for the Belt presented by Herculiner. We're at Ennis, Texas, the Texas Motorplex, a bad, fast racetrack with some of the coolest cars in the country.
Absolutely, man. These things make a lot of horsepower, and there are 8 drivers trying for the big bucks in the belt here today.
But guys, when you see the cars come up to staging, there's a lot for the driver to do, getting things ready, getting his focus there. But another one of those things you see happen is you see that nitrous purge out of the race car. And Jim Halsey, tell us what's going on there when you purge that nitrous, and what does it do for the race car?
Well, nitrous is actually a liquid, and it boils at a very low temperature, so we need to get as much liquid to the engine or to the intake manifold as we can. So we have purge solenoids here and a purge line here, so when Alan opens the bottles after I do the burnout, we purge this out so we get fresh liquid to here, and then we purge it into the motor. That's where you hear the motor revving up a few times right before we go to stage, and that gets the liquid clean to the solenoids right here to the intake manifold, and that gives you a good hit to start with.
Well, guys, it's all about making that baby hum when the lights go green.
There's a lot of technology there that's been developed over the past years. Let's see if we can put it to the test here today. Here's the ladder.
That's right, here we go. In the battle for the belts, the number 7 and number 8 qualifiers will match up in a single pair in round number 1. Then, as we move to round 2, it looks like one of the competitors
is on fire.
That's Steve Vick's car, and guess what? Pat Stoken, oh man, did he dodge one there. Headed right to the guard wall. Steve Vick's machine caught fire after the burnout, and Pat Stoken will move to the next round. And that, my friends, was a lucky break and a frustrated Stephen Vick.
We were lucky, I guess. We didn't get down the track, but Steve had some problems, so we'll take whatever we can. Better lucky than good, I guess, might say.
I think it's safe to say he dodged 2 of them, and Steve Vick and the wall, and yeah! That's what's coming up. We're going to go to the Lucas Oil Crash Lab and build a concoction. On the Edge, being brought to you by Lucas Oil Products, made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Herculiner Truck Bed Liners, when the tough come easy. Welcome back to Ennis, Texas. We're showing you some great action here out of the Pro Nitrous category. Burnouts have begun.
Round number 2, we already know that Pat Stoken, by a little bit of luck, won in round number 1. Johnny Pilcher brings a Camaro to this event. He's driven his family's Corvette all year long, and he'll take on that machine in the far lane. Burton Oxer, that 69 Firebird for Alanabi Racing.
Oh, man, Burton way over there by the wall, way out of the groove. That thing was lit up, too. 392, 179 at the 8th mile mark. Watch this thing. Look at the flames out of it. That's when they're making some sweet power. But right there, he's out of the groove already.
Yeah, he gets closer and closer to the wall. And it's kind of amazing that car actually ran at 392 for the win.
It's all come to this, the battle for the belts. How much pressure is there for this deal tonight?
Well, there's a lot of pressure on everybody in this because it's just not one car winning the points for the season. It's 8 cars that are going to battle it out today, and hopefully the best man is us.
It's been great conditions today. What has to happen for you to go home with that belt tonight?
Well, we just got to make the right calls. We have the power we feel to win this race, so we just got to do our job and make the right calls in the car, and hopefully we'll win.
Mike's been doing this a long time, a former IHRA national champ, lined up alongside Pat Stoken on the far lane.
Stoken red lights his chances away. And Mike Castellano used up a bunch of racetrack and he'll slow to the far end at only 133. Watch it again here in the replay, Ken.
Yeah, right there. I mean, out of the groove very quickly. Had to get out of the throttle. That thing was aimed square at the wall for a moment. No doubt that's what he would have ate if he'd have stayed in the throttle. Fortunately for him, the far side, Pat Stoken, left too early. Race over.
Had Castellana gone far enough before they ate the mile to cross that center stripe, Bill, Stoken would have luckily won yet another round.
Up next, Stan Allen and K.A. About to do battle. K.A. here in the near lane out of Qatar, and then, of course, out of Louisiana. Stan Allen in the far lane. K.A. laying the wood to him, baby.
K.A. Khaled Al-Balushi, 417, on and off the gas. And I've said over the course of the season, the most improved driver. Watch the car in the left lane. On and off the throttle. And Stan Allen in what used to be one of the house cars there for the Al-Anabi racing team has problems off the starting line. But Khaled Al-Balushi, K.A. as they call him, right down through there, he used up a bunch of racetrack to turn on the win light here.
And Jim Halsey, one bad 8th-mile car.
And this is, going into this session, the baddest in the country, the #1 qualifier. And right now, the new world record holder at 384, 195. Look at that picture-perfect run, Ken.
Sets both ends of the record. I'll tell you, the amazing part here is you listen to that car leave. He pulls second gear almost immediately. He's really short-shifting that thing. It's making some big power. Stay with us. We're not finished. We're going to crash him up. You're watching Lucas Oil on the Edge. The semifinals here from Ennis at the Mosier Battle for the Belt. Heating up the hides, baby. Roll the smoke off of them.
That's right. Halsey and Oxer, Castellana and Al-Balushi, teammates. And I'm going to tell you something, no orders around here when it comes to teammates. Oh, trouble here with Castellana's car. It will not fire. I'm going to tell you, everybody's trying to work to get that thing to run. It is going to be a single for Khaled K.A. Al-Balushi. Carroll leads the starting line. Now that's a great-looking run right there, and it is big. 387, 192 the speed. Tough break for his partner, Mike Castellana. But watch Al-Balushi's machine. Hikes that front end up in the air. That's like a 3-race-old race car. Moves toward the center line, but the fire in the pipes never goes dark. Khaled. I call him no-lift Khaled Al-Balushi. He's a great driver.
Yeah, real nice job there. And the front end way up in the air on that. I'm surprised it didn't unload the rear tire, but obviously they know what they're doing as we take a look at it from up here. We'll go to the other half of the semifinal, Jim Halsey and Burton Oxer.
I got to be on my game driving and got to have the car right or he's going to send me home. I mean, he's a tough driver, got a fast car, and we just got to do our job.
Halsey, who, by the way, just set both ends of the world record, speed and ET. Oh, and a big explosion. Very rare occurrence for Jim Halsey, a machine that never breaks. Oxer goes 4 flat, 183, and beats the car that in the previous round with 384. Watch it right there.
Man, huge flame out of the hood scoop of that one as it burped back through the carburetors. Watch this thing on the left-hand side. Violent explosion.
That is a very rare occurrence from that Fulton competition engine in Jim Halsey.
But guys, the Al-Anabi racing team has made a strong presence here this weekend. 4 cars in competition. And Bruton, tell us about what it means to you to win that Battle of the Belts, and what have your teammates done to help you get the car right on the racetrack?
The Battle of the Belts means everything to us. I mean, that's what we run all year for, and our teammates have really helped us a lot this year. I mean, tonight, every race, I mean, they help make the calls on everything, and we share a lot of information. Hopefully we can share enough to make this thing go down the racetrack one more time.
Now, you've been stressing over what adjustments to make. What are you worried about, and what are you going to do to the car?
Well, the biggest thing is getting the right amount of clutch in the car. You get too much in it, it's going to shake. You don't get enough, and it slips so bad it gets out of the groove. So that's the key thing right now, getting the right amount of clutch in to make it run fast.
Well, guys, it's going to be a bit of a guessing game, but I think between him and all their teammates, they'll get it figured out.
Well, the secret's always in the can. Take a look at this during Pro Extreme semifinal round. Things here, as you might imagine, changed drastically with the weather. And as you can see, man, things are getting to be quite a handful out here on the track.
Yeah, Todd Tutterow and Jason Scruggs matched up side by side. Jason kind of went a little bit too far in his drive as we watch it from the far end camera. Car in the left lane, picture perfect run for Todd. Jason moves all over, does the right thing now, pulls that parachute. But meanwhile, the car is just kind of dancing around there, trying to keep it off the wall, does a great job. And right at the very end, just bumps that left front fender. That wasn't all. That wasn't the end of it for the night. Here in the other pair, Joshua Hernandez for the National Guard on the right side. Jason Hams from the family car from DeMont, Indiana, also had problems, and they were severe. Watch the impact with the wall for Hamstra. Now, I got to tell you, this kid's just along for the ride right now. Very likely unconscious as he leaves the starting line together. Good, clean run. I mean, the car's not moving around bad. But once you get a little bit out of the groove, it's getting a little bit late at night, barely misses the front end of that 57 Chevrolet. And I mean, he hits the wall a ton, Ken. And that was a tough ride for the kid from DeMont, Indiana, Jason Hamstra.
Yeah, and those side impacts are quite possibly the scariest of all. Joshua Hernandez, the guy he was racing, formerly in law enforcement and an EMT, first one on the scene to get in there and try to help his buddy out. Then, of course, they followed up with a driver's meeting. Well, the officials from the ADRL made a decision to call the race that evening, bring everybody back the next day. By the way, that is a look at the man that smacked the wall a ton.
A little red-headed kid from DeMont, Indiana, Jason Hamstra.
So the burnouts begin here on the following day. This is when it really gets tricky to come out here and try to guess at what that clutch wants to be perfect out here, because both of these guys are bad fast.
Yeah, they're making their first run at the track on a whole different day with the sun out versus running in the evening hours when it's dark out the night before. Khaled Albalusi, Burton Oxer, the guy from West Virginia, and the guy from Qatar. Red light start, Burton Oxer by 0.04 of a second, and K.A. Belushi will be your champion in the battle for the belts.
Yeah, and if it helps out at all, K.A. also had the better ET, so Burton can at least say, man, I went for it right there, and it wouldn't have mattered anyways because he'd have had to really be on his game to beat K.A. Great onboard shot, beautiful pass. Al Belushi, your winner here today.
Khalil Al-Belushi, you are the world champion. Tell us about how important this belt is to you.
Yeah, I want to ask everybody who's worked with Khalid Belushi, thank you for everything for Al Nabi, Sheikh Khalid, and everybody who's worked with Khalid Belushi this season. More thanks for Shannon Jenkins also.
How special was it to race against your teammate to win that belt?
Exactly the same. I tell everybody before the race, if I win, the Burtons win, also same, you know. This is the build, he's got him Middle East tomorrow, okay?
That was a big one, man. He won the championship, the battle for the belt. Well, coming up a little bit later in the show, we'll see if these guys can survive the big one.
Snowmobiles barreling down a snowy, icy course makes sense. How about a motorcycle with studded tires? Talk about upping the fear factor. 16 riders will be pitching their bikes sideways in an all-out race. Fire and Ice is heating up now.
All right, we put you out onto the ice. Lucas Oil Motorcycle Ice Race presented by Herculiner. We take you up to Wisconsin, of course, and watch these guys do what they do best, man. That is put some studs on those tires and somehow manage to keep them up on two wheels. And then, of course, in the process, go racing with them. You just got to love the development of this stuff. You know, somebody at some point in time had a motorcycle. They're in the cold country. They're tired of looking at it all winter long. And they're like, how can I keep this thing upright? Well, let's put some screws in the tires.
That's right. And as we look at the starting order, you got to remember that in one of our past Lucas Oil on the Edge shows, we run them indoors during the wintertime months on a much smaller scale track. But here today, we're on a pretty good sized racetrack.
Looking for the green flag. And we're racing on the ice.
Now you can see the fenders on the front, you can see the fenders on the back. All that is meant to try to keep the ice from flying around, the snow, the ice, whichever one it ends up being. Slush in some cases, to flying up and in your competitor's face or even in your own, Ken.
Wolfschlager and LaValle going at it, and you can see the speeds they're carrying here. It is not a game for the faint of heart. These guys are on the gas.
Yeah, if you could take that snow right now and paint it brown, it would almost look like you're running on a half-mile dirt course. They are making some big speed right here.
Excellent job, yeah. I mean, almost identical to flat track racing, just doing it on the ice. putting the foot down, the hot shoe down, if you will. But right now, Wolschlager really showing him the way around this thing, man. He is driving away.
He's not even having to drag that foot much in the corner. They'll put it down. It's kind of there, a little bit different than when we are running on the dirt. But for all intents and purposes, as you mentioned, a lot of similarities here, and they are definitely running fast.
All the 4 strokes out here, big time torque. Good horsepower out of these guys. White flag flies. We're coming into that final lap. Something else they have to take care of. Those face masks, man, they will fog up easily, but once you get up to speed, you're typically okay.
Yeah, it's definitely cold up here racing on the ice. A little battle for position right here as these bikes move into turn number 3, roll into turn number 4 to make their way down the front stretch. This is good racing going on here.
Wolschlager looking for the checkered flag. Can he hang on here? Yes, he does. Excellent job. Right behind him, LaValle and Smetana. Those two were really racing hard there through 3 and 4, as you mentioned before. LaValle hanging on to the position. Congrats, though, to Pete Wolschlager getting it done out here on the ice. Motorcycle racing on the ice, man. That's always cool. Don't you touch that dial, baby. When we come back, we're going to crash them up. On the Edge has been brought to you by Lucas Oil Products. Made in America, sold to the world. General Tire, unleash the fury. And by Starter Guard, no more dead batteries. Time now to mix up a wicked potion in the Lucas Oil Crash Lab. We'll get things started with the XRRA, Extreme Rock Racing, and yeah, sometimes you gotta get extreme.
Waupaca, Indiana, watch this Jeep come over for the XRRA. Goes a little too hot. Watch the driver. He's got the safety net there and keeps his hands on the wheels, boy. You don't want nothing coming out when that thing's flipping over. And these things are well known to do that here in Attica, Indiana.
Yeah, when you hit one of those jumps, you got to be squared up. He was not. And when it launched him sideways. Speaking of launching, watch David Sharp in the far lane. Top alcohol hydro. 1, 2, 3 spots and walks. And then that one takes off.
We'll watch it from the far end camera. This baby has itself in trouble right off the starting line. Gets about 300 feet, and then all heck starts breaking loose, Ken. You know it a lot better than I do, man. That was a tough way to go.
Yeah, it never really took a set. It yanked up that left front sponson. Then when it started to try and move forward, it looked like it tail walked a little bit, prop walked a little bit. That got it even further out of shape. And then, of course, it really started to chine hard. It's easy to say when you're out here watching it that you should have gotten out of the throttle, but we are talking about split seconds here, and it happened so quickly. He just didn't have much of a chance. Fortunately, all the safety items of that boat doing their job. We'll watch it one more time. Left sponson up. Watch here. The back of the boat will kick out on it. Right there. It prop walks, and then, of course, once that happens, the boat sets back down the water. It gets way unhappy. Then when it separates here, watch the capsule. The capsule's going to go a separate direction right there in the center, and that's what keeps that driver safe. It has a full roll cage inside, air apparatus, so he was good to go.
Tough truck competition from Nocatee Bay, Alaska. We showed you a little bit earlier. They like to have a good time here, and this is all part of it. Dave Reinald's machine, watch it right about there. That short wheelbase truck is on its lid in short notice.
Yeah, not only that, it has a passenger inside, so that was a twofer right there, man. And as a passenger, you're thinking, no, please don't. But sure enough, she went for a ride. You know what they say, for better or for worse. So.
That's right. He has his girlfriend right alongside, baby. And she went for a ride.
All right, this is the World Championships indoor dirt track karting. The competition is brutal, and as you can see, it gets ugly quick.
Pretty much open wheel racing, Ken, as you well know. And once the tires start hitting the opponent's tires, well, things could go haywire real fast.
Yeah, and these guys not afraid to lean on each other. We'll show you this wreck one more time from a different angle. But look at all the cars that end up involved, because they are literally nose to tail, some 20 cars deep. But side by side right there, and they get together. One car rotates a little too far sideways, and then it just piles everybody up.
1, 2, 3, 4, minimum 5, as many as 6 or 7 of them total. One machine clear upside down. And thank goodness for the roll cages here.
Yeah, they run a couple different classes out here. Some of them with roll cages, some of them without. So not everybody's quite as fortunate when it comes to rolling over. My son was one of them, by the way. No roll bar. So, in that case, you use that skid lid, baby.
And that's a good time to have one right about there.
All right, let's take it to Crandon, the scariest turn in all of motorsports. You travel the better part of a quarter mile, approaching speeds of 100 miles per hour, an off-camber right-hander, and Scott Douglas gets bumped and goes for the ride of his life.
Oh, my.
A 4,000-pound, 850-horsepower truck. It was Adrian Chinney who was on the inside of him during that turn, comes out, and you are on the ragged edge without touching anybody. And that's the only way you can get the lead on the start here at Crandon. You've got to hang it out there, but if anybody touches you at all, this is the result.
At over 100+ miles per hour, and like you said, that's the result. And it's over and over, and it's end over end. And thank goodness for all the safety equipment, because Scott Douglas watched it from the onboard camera. Wow.
He would go on to race another day. He was A-OK. Watch this one. Walt Ott goes completely under.
Wow.
Talk about power. You need some power to stuff one of those all the way under. And that's exactly what happened there. It's all in the prop angle. Needless to say, that one was incorrect. Bye-bye.
And that safety capsule once again does its job. You can look right there at that front windshield. That is complete capsule assembly, if you will. Airtight, watertight. So in this situation where it might be looking like he's filling himself full of water in the cockpit, that baby is dry. It's also got an air system in there for the driver. One more angle, and down she goes.
Most expensive fish finder in the world.
Right there. Absolutely. And from our far end camera, another shot at it. Boom, baby. Headed to the bottom. Unreal.
So the driver okay on that one. Never really got up to speed. In his defense, too, I will say they kick a lot of water up over the windshield, so they're used to not seeing the first few moments.
This has been an exciting episode of Lucas Oil on the Edge. For Ken Stout, Brian Olson, Tony Bachhoven, and Rob Kleppers, I'm Angela Jenkins. Log on to speedtv.com and link over to newwavetv.com for a list of upcoming OTE shows. And remember, you're not living unless you're on the edge.